Imagine waking up tomorrow with exactly the same job, the same salary, and the same dreams. Nothing has changed. Yet somewhere else in the world, someone you've never met just became a millionaire while you were sleeping. They didn't work 20 hours today. They didn't win the lottery. They simply understood one rule about money that almost nobody ever talks about. Asterisk asterisk. The uncomfortable truth is this: wealth has never been distributed based on who works the hardest. If it were, construction workers, farmers, and nurses would be among the richest people on earth. But they're not, because money doesn't follow effort. Money follows strategy. Asterisk asterisk. For centuries, the people who controlled kingdoms, empires, and fortunes understood something the average person never did. They knew that money isn't earned the way most people believe. It's positioned, controlled, and multiplied through invisible rules that are hidden in plain sight. Asterisk asterisk. Niccolò Machiavelli understood these rules long before modern banks, stock markets, or billion-dollar companies existed. He watched rulers rise from nothing, merchants build fortunes out of chaos, and powerful families stay rich for generations while ordinary people remain trapped in the same cycle. He discovered that the world rewards those who understand human nature, not those who simply work the hardest. Asterisk asterisk. And that's exactly why millions of people spend 40 years chasing money, while a small minority spends those same 40 years making money chase them. By the end of this video, you'll never look at wealth the same way again. Because once you understand the game they're playing, you'll realize that staying broke isn't always about earning too little. It's often about following rules that were never designed to make you rich. The greatest illusion ever sold to ordinary people wasn't that money is difficult to earn. It was that money rewards fairness. From the moment you're old enough to understand the world, you're handed a script. Study hard, follow the rules, get a stable job, work harder than everyone else, and one day success will arrive like a prize waiting at the finish line. It sounds logical. It sounds honest. And that's exactly why so many people believe it without ever questioning it. But look around. If hard work alone created wealth, the people doing the most physically demanding jobs would own the tallest buildings in every city. They would control the largest companies. They would retire in freedom while everyone else struggled. Instead, many of them spend decades working harder each year, only to discover that their lives haven't changed. Their paycheck grows slightly. Their expenses grow even faster. They run faster on the same treadmill, believing the next promotion will finally set them free. It rarely does. Machiavelli understood something that made people uncomfortable because it challenged the stories they wanted to believe. He observed that power rarely belonged to the strongest man in the room. It belonged to the man who understood the room better than everyone else. Money follows the same law. It doesn't ask who sacrificed the most. It asks who created the most leverage. That single word, asterisk leverage asterisk, is the invisible line separating those who work for money from those who quietly build fortunes. Think about a king for a moment. No king ever built his kingdom brick by brick with his own hands. He didn't harvest every field. He didn't fight every battle. He didn't negotiate every trade agreement. His influence expanded because thousands of other people were working toward goals that ultimately increased his own power. That isn't laziness. That's leverage. Now replace the kingdom with a business. Replace soldiers with employees. Replace horses with technology. Replace handwritten letters with the internet. The principle hasn't changed in 500 years. The people who understand how to multiply effort always move ahead of those who rely only on personal effort. And yet, almost nobody is taught this. Schools teach you how to become valuable inside someone else's system. Very few teach you how to build a system of your own. That isn't necessarily a conspiracy. It's simply how institutions were designed. Every society needs skilled workers, engineers, teachers, doctors, accountants, electricians. They are essential. Civilization couldn't function without them. But being essential and becoming wealthy are not the same thing. One creates value. The other captures value. The wealthy understand both. The average person usually learns only the first. Imagine two friends graduating on the same day. Both are intelligent. Both are ambitious. Both begin earning exactly the same salary. The first immediately upgrades his lifestyle every time his income increases. A nicer apartment, a newer car, better clothes, expensive dinners. Everything looks successful from the outside. The second does something that seems almost boring. Every raise becomes another investment. Every bonus purchases another asset. Every dollar is given a job before it's ever spent. 5 years later, they still appear similar. 10 years later, the gap begins to widen. 20 years later, one still depends on his next paycheck. The other depends on the assets he quietly built while nobody was paying attention. The difference wasn't income. It was philosophy. One believed money was meant to be enjoyed the moment it arrived. The other believed money was a worker that should be sent out to earn more workers. This is why the rich often ask a question that most people never ask. Instead of saying, asterisk, how much does it cost? Asterisk, they ask, asterisk, will this make me money in the future? Asterisk. That single question changes almost every financial decision. A luxury watch may impress strangers for a few minutes. An income-producing asset can continue rewarding you for years. One feeds your ego, the other feeds your future. And the strange part is that both choices often require the same amount of money. The difference isn't financial, it's psychological. Because before wealth is ever visible in a bank account, it exists as a pattern of thinking. Most people believe becoming rich is about learning how to make more money. But history suggests something different. It's about learning how to think differently about the money you already have. The game changes the moment you stop asking, asterisk, how can I earn more? Asterisk, and start asking, asterisk, how can I make every dollar work harder than I do? Asterisk. That is the question history's greatest builders, investors, and entrepreneurs asked long before anyone called them successful. And once you understand why, you'll realize that the wealthiest people in the world aren't playing a different version of the same game. They're playing an entirely different game altogether. The first rule of the wealth game is so simple that most people ignore it. And because they ignore it, they spend their entire lives chasing money instead of attracting it. The rule is this: never trade something finite for something infinite unless you understand the price. Your time is finite. Every hour that passes is gone forever. No investment, no promotion, and no amount of money can buy it back. Money, on the other hand, is infinite, can be created, invested, multiplied, lost, and earned again. Yet millions of people wake up every morning and exchange the only thing that can never be replaced for something that can. Machiavelli never wrote about paychecks or stock markets, but he understood the value of limited resources. A wise ruler never wasted his strongest soldiers in battles that offered little reward. He protected what was scarce and used strategy to acquire what was abundant. Today, your most valuable soldier isn't an army. It's your time. The wealthy guard it like a fortress. The average person gives it away 1 hour at a time. Have you ever noticed that the richest people rarely brag about how busy they are? Instead, they talk about freedom. The freedom to choose what they work on. The freedom to walk away from bad opportunities. The freedom to spend time with their families. The freedom to think. Because once you reach a certain level of wealth, money is no longer the goal. Time is, and that's the greatest irony of all. Poor people sacrifice their time to get money. Rich people use money to buy back their time. Everything changes when you begin seeing money as a tool instead of a destination. Imagine you're given $1 million tomorrow. Most people immediately imagine the things they would buy: the house, the sports car, the luxury vacations. But the truly wealthy imagine something completely different. They ask, how can I make this 1 million produce another 1 million? That single question separates consumers from builders. Consumers spend. Builders deploy. Consumers celebrate purchases. Builders celebrate ownership. This difference may seem small, but over the course of 20 or 30 years, it becomes enormous. Because wealth is rarely built through dramatic moments. It's built through quiet decisions that almost nobody notices. A businessman purchases a small company that everyone else ignores. An investor buys land before a city begins expanding. An entrepreneur creates software that solves a problem millions didn't even realize they had. At first, these decisions look ordinary. Sometimes they even look foolish. Friends laugh. Family members question them. Experts predict failure. But history has an interesting habit. By the time everyone agrees something was a brilliant idea, the opportunity is already gone. This is why Machiavelli believed perception was one of the greatest forms of power. The ability to see reality before everyone else sees it. The same principle applies to money. Most people only recognize value after someone else has already become rich from it. They invest when the headlines say it's safe. They buy when prices are already high. They follow trends after the profits have already been made. The wealthy do something very different. They pay attention to what the crowd is ignoring. Not because the crowd is always wrong, but because the crowd is almost always late. Think back to every great financial revolution. The internet, smartphones, commerce, artificial intelligence. At the beginning, uncertainty frightened people. Many dismissed these ideas as temporary trends. Yet a handful of individuals looked beyond the uncertainty and saw something everyone else missed. Not certainty, potential. And potential has always been the birthplace of fortune. That's why one of the greatest financial skills isn't predicting the future. It's recognizing patterns before they become obvious. Because by the time everyone can see the opportunity, it no longer belongs to the few. It belongs to the masses. And when the masses arrive, the greatest rewards have usually already been claimed. This is the lesson history teaches over and over again. The first always earn the most. The second earn less. The last simply wonder why they missed it. The question is, which group will you belong to? Good. Here's the continuation in the same cinematic, high-retention style. Most people believe that money changes people. But history suggests something far more unsettling. Money doesn't change people. It reveals them. Give two people the same opportunity, and you'll often witness two completely different futures unfold. One sees a chance to consume. The other sees a chance to build. One asks, "What can I buy?" The other asks, "What can I own?" It sounds like a small difference, but empires have been built on smaller differences than that. Machiavelli understood that before a man could conquer a kingdom, he first had to conquer himself. His emotions, his impulses, his need for immediate gratification. Because the greatest enemy of long-term power was never another ruler. It was impatience. And nowhere is impatience more expensive than in the pursuit of wealth. The modern world has perfected the art of selling impatience. Every advertisement whispers the same promise. You deserve it now. Buy the expensive car now. Upgrade your phone now. Take the luxury vacation now. Live like you're already wealthy, even if you're borrowing money to create the illusion. The result? Millions of people spend years purchasing symbols of success, instead of purchasing success itself. Think about that. A luxury watch tells people you're successful. Owning part of the company that manufactures that watch actually makes you successful. One is appearance. The other is ownership. And history has always rewarded owners more than performers. This is why the wealthy think differently every time money enters their hands. Before spending a single dollar, they ask one simple question. Will this purchase make me richer or only look richer? That question eliminates thousands of unnecessary decisions. Because every dollar has two possible futures. Can disappear forever, or it can return with friends. Imagine money as an employee. Every time you receive your paycheck, hundreds of tiny workers arrive at your door. Most people immediately send those workers away. Some leave to pay bills. Others leave for entertainment. Others disappear into impulse purchases that are forgotten within weeks. By the end of the month, every worker is gone. Now imagine someone who treats those same dollars differently. Instead of sending every worker away, he hires them. He puts them to work. Some buy shares in productive businesses. Some purchase assets that generate income. Some build a business capable of earning while he sleeps. Months pass, then years. Suddenly those original workers begin returning, bringing new workers with them. Now his money is no longer standing still. It's reproducing. This is why Albert Einstein allegedly called compound growth one of the most powerful forces in existence. Whether or not the quote is authentic, the principle certainly is. The wealthy don't become rich because they make one brilliant decision. They become rich because small, intelligent decisions continue multiplying long after everyone else has stopped paying attention. While others chase quick wins, they quietly allow time to become their greatest business partner. Time, the one asset that treats everyone equally, cannot be bribed, cannot be negotiated with, but it rewards those who understand how to use it. Every billionaire, every great entrepreneur, every legendary investor has exactly 24 hours in a day. No more, no less. The difference isn't time. The difference is what happens during that time. Most people spend their days reacting. Emails, notifications, unexpected problems, other people's priorities. By sunset, they're exhausted, but they haven't moved any closer to financial freedom. The wealthy protect their attention as carefully as others protect their wallets. Because attention determines decisions, and decisions determine destiny. Machiavelli believed that the man who constantly reacts to events will always remain one step behind the man who creates them. Money works exactly the same way. If you're constantly reacting to bills, you're playing defense. If you're constantly searching for opportunities, you're playing offense. And fortunes are rarely built by people who spend their entire lives defending themselves. They are built by those who position themselves before everyone else notices the opportunity. But here's where the game becomes even more interesting, because there is one habit that quietly destroys more potential wealth than almost anything else. It's not laziness. It's not lack of intelligence. It's not even lack of opportunity. It's something far more dangerous: the addiction to certainty. Most people refuse to act until success feels guaranteed. They wait until every question has an answer. Every risk has disappeared. Every expert agrees. But certainty has a price, and that price is opportunity. By the time the outcome feels obvious, someone else has already claimed the reward. The wealthy understand something that ordinary people rarely accept. Every extraordinary opportunity looks uncertain in the beginning. Every great investment once looked risky. Every successful company was once dismissed as impossible. Every fortune began as an idea that someone else laughed at. The crowd laughs first, then watches, then copies, and by the time they copy, the advantage belongs to someone else. Because money has always favored those willing to see possibility before the rest of the world could see proof. So, where does that leave us? Perhaps with the most uncomfortable truth of all. You were never truly competing against the wealthy. You were competing against a way of thinking. For years, you may have believed that the answer was to work longer hours, sacrifice more weekends, or wait patiently for the opportunity that would finally change everything. But the world doesn't reward effort in isolation. It rewards value. It rewards leverage. And above all, it rewards those who understand how people, power, and money actually move. Machiavelli observed that kingdoms were not won by the strongest armies alone. They were won by those who understood strategy better than everyone else. Wealth follows the same principle. The biggest fortunes in history were rarely built by people who simply worked harder. They were built by people who learned to see opportunities where others saw uncertainty, who owned instead of merely consumed, and who made decisions based on the future rather than the present. The question is no longer whether the game exists. It always has. The real question is, which role are you playing? Are you spending your life climbing someone else's ladder? Or are you quietly building your own? Because every financial decision you make today is casting a vote for the person you'll become 10 years from now. Every unnecessary purchase, every investment, every hour spent learning a valuable skill, every opportunity ignored because it felt uncomfortable, they all shape a future that hasn't arrived yet. Most people believe wealth appears in a single extraordinary moment. A lucky break, a winning investment, a business that suddenly explodes overnight. But history tells a different story. Fortunes are usually built in silence, through thousands of decisions that no one applauds, through discipline that no one notices, through patience that most people mistake for inaction. While the world is distracted by headlines, luxury lifestyles, and overnight success stories, the truly wealthy are often doing something far less exciting. They're learning, they're observing, they're acquiring, they're positioning themselves for opportunities that haven't even become visible yet. And when those opportunities finally arrive, the outside world calls it luck. But it was never luck. It was preparation meeting opportunity. That is the hidden strategy. Not magic, not secrets, not shortcuts, a different way of seeing the world. Because the greatest investment you'll ever make isn't in stocks, real estate, or businesses. It's in your ability to think independently. The moment you stop following the crowd, the moment you stop measuring success by appearances, the moment you begin asking, how can this decision create more freedom tomorrow? Instead of, how can this impress people today?